Greetings YouTube and welcome to the Blue Corner. In this video I'm going to be doing a follow-up to the Q&A announcement video that I posted recently and answering the questions that you guys have posted since then while something is playing in the background. So with that being said, let's just get right into this. First up is Drive Check, who asks, after the recent ban list release in Yu-Gi-Oh! And changes in Vanguard in regards to sets and such, how do I feel about both of them? So I'm going to say this out right now, and people are going to get really pissed at me for saying this, but Yu-Gi-Oh! Is in an infinitely better place than Vanguard is right now, and that is in spite of the fact that Yu-Gi-Oh! Is Yu-Gi-Oh! I find games of Yu-Gi-Oh! To be much more enjoyable than games of Vanguard due to the fact that you have more control over shit, and the format, even though you have degenerate decks like Danger, Thunder, Guard, Dragon, I still feel like it's just more interactive compared to Vanguard, where in standard format it was basically BT hell for so very long, and premium format is, well, a mess again. Thank you very much, Premium Collection. And in particular, Ichikishima. Why'd they print that card? But I digress. Back to the whole Yu-Gi-Oh! Aspect. I feel like Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a much better place. I'm still pissed off that they're short printing secret rares, and it looks to be, at least as far as Battles of Legend, Heroes Revenge goes, super short printing secrets. But at the end of the day, though,
no problem.
I just find the game to be more enjoyable. The decks you have access to are much more enjoyable. Even like the lower tier decks, or the budget decks, they're pretty strong. Salamangreat was a very good deck for how little it cost, at least if you didn't have Phantasmes. If you needed Phantasmes, then rip you. But like, Rockets are coming in, and they look to be a pretty playable, albeit cheap deck. Pendulum is super cheap, and it's super good. Man, last format was also one of the best ones we had, with like, even though there were clearly 4 defined good decks, there were a lot of other decks that were just also playable as well. It's like, you could play Orcust, Sky Striker, Thunder Dragon, and Salamangreat, but you could also play Pendulum. You could also play, unfortunately, Mystic Mind variants, but some people are degenerates like that. Some people could play Burning Abyss variations. I'm trying to think what else has been able to top there in the last format. Altergeist. People did that. I pity them, but they played it. Still funny how Altergeist got hit on the ban list, despite how little it saw play. But, oh well, I hate that deck, as you might have imagined. But, yeah, like, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is just a more fun game. It's more interactive, more skillful, and the only real issue that I have with the game is its cost, but that's just Yu-Gi-Oh! And as far as changes in Vanguard goes, the recent set releases look like they're going to finally knock BT off their perch of being the best deck in the format, which is great because, oh my god, that deck was choking standard as far as like the enjoyment people have. Like, it made Japanese players play Premium, and they do not like Premium nearly as much as North America does. But that's what a cancerous deck will do to a game. It will make people look for other formats. And then, so Extra Booster 8 in particular looks like it's going to help with that, and then BT05 will definitely help with that, and then finally BT6 will probably be the set that finally knocks BT out of contention, because there's no way Bushiroad is going to let their Golden Goose Shadow Paladins get outdone by the Creepy Fishes. And yeah, and as far as the premium format goes, they need to be really, like, they need to be much better at this whole restriction list thing, other than, oh, we know these decks are a problem, so we're just going to watch them, which basically amounts to, don't you play this, but I'm going to anyway. But I told you don't play it. You can't stop me. Oh, like, that's basically how I look at that whole watch list thing. Like, they need to step in more frequently. Probably, like, granted, they never will. They're not Konami in that regard, but like, Ichikishima, the new one, is a major problem. Katrina, it's also a problem. I'll admit that even as the Katrina player. As much as I want to say Bustard is a problem, like, if you look at the card and how it's designed, yeah, it's bad card design, but the Nova Copper deck in itself is still so very slow to get rolling that it just cannot compete with the top 3. They need to do something about Azel as a whole, like, just ban Criff as a starter, because that deck should not be able to do what it, like, you shouldn't be able to cheat First Stride so easily, and like, you need to make it more difficult for a deck to do that kind of shenanigans. What else? But yeah, like, Premium Collection, great in theory, but Bushiroad being Bushiroad, of course, screwed up in some manner in trying to execute it, much like they do with a lot of things of theirs. And if they end up doing this again, they need to be much more diligent about properly balancing this thing and releasing less Ichikishimas, and also being much better at like making sure clans get adequate support, because this is again a set that saw fit to release Ichikishima and Conquest Fulgurate in the same set. And yes, I'm going back to the whole Fulgurate as ass thing, but I'm still bitter about that because it's just so bad. Like, I look at my first strides for premium Narus, and it's like, I guess I'm still sticking with V-Buster, or if I want to play an Eradicator deck, Azek Tony Malinchu, but even then, it's like, that deck in theory could do something, but its stride game is just so bad, and you're probably going to get killed before you even get to your second stride. Like, it's just how it is. Yeah, like, those are just pretty much my thoughts on those things. And then, what else did you ask? You asked, have I ever played Nier Automata? I have not. I do own it, but it's on my backlog along with a lot of other games that I've put to the side in order to finish this Legend of Heroes binge that I've been on since January. As with the impending release of Trails of Cold Steel 3 in September, I decided that I'd go back in January and replay the first Trails game, Trails in the Skies, first chapter, on Steam, and I've just been going through all the games that are available in North America. It's a 9-part series as of Trails of Cold Steel 4, and we have, what is it, Sky 2, Sky 3, Cold Steel 2. Yeah, 5 games. We have 5 out of the 9 games currently released right now, and I'm working on like the last of the currently legal games in North America. And that's actually what's being played right now. But once I get through all of those, I'll have a little bit of time to get through to tackle some of the games that I have on hand. I don't know if Nier is going to be one of them because there's some other stuff I kind of want to play more, like Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. I recently picked that up and I kind of want to try it. I also want to try out Pokemon Renegade Platinum, which is the Pokemon game I used in the announcement video. It's a hack and it looks to be pretty solid. What else is there that I was looking to do in the downtime? I kind of want to play Mega Man Battle over Chrono X. It got its demo got another update, so there's probably more stuff for me to do. And yeah, so I will eventually get to it, but probably not this year. And the last question is, can I elaborate on why I think Rising Rampage is a garbage set? So the issue I have with Rising Rampage, and a lot of people will have with Rising Rampage, is that it doesn't have good cards. It is basically I think a 3-card set. You've got Apollousa, Goddess of the Bow, the Marine Cess Secret Rare Link monster, and the other Marine Cess monster that will probably be of high rare expense. I don't know if it'll be their other secret rare, the Link 3. I think it'll be the Ultra Rare that's like the more expensive one, but their other secret rare will probably be expensive for a while. Like, it's just really a 3-card set. Like, the new archetypes in the set are not very good, at least not yet. Like, Tenye need to their Chaos Impact stuff in order to be playable. The new TCG exclusive archetype Dream Mirrors is just terrible. There's just no saving them. And what is it? Marine Cess is good, but not good enough to stand on its own 2 feet. It has, I think, random Dino Wrestlers in there. Like, I can't think of very many just good standout cards that make this an overall playable set. It's just a couple short printed secret rares that are going to be like, it's just basically Goddess of the Bow, the set, and then some other cards afterwards. And it's very reminiscent of Savage Strike, except worse than that. It's also, I'd say, worse than Cybernetic Horizon, because that at least had the dangers in them. But when you have only just 1 or 2 good cards carrying a set, it's just not good. And those cards are going to be expensive for a long time too. Like, case in point, Savage Strike and Fantastical Dragon Phantasme being as pricey as it is because there are no other good secret rares in the set to balance it out. What is it called? Dark Neostorm is considered to be a much better set because even though it has a lot of popular cards as secrets, there are a lot of good secrets, and as a result, the overall price of the secrets goes down. And we want more sets like that. And the last thing to point out is the prismatic secret rares that they're introducing to the set, or extra secret rare. We don't have the official name of them. They aren't going to be enough to change this either. It's a neat concept, and I understand that they introduced them for this set in particular to get people to buy Rising Rampage, but when it's like one of them per every 2 cases, one of them every 2 cases, that's not going to be enough. Like, overall, anyone who buys a box of Rising Rampage I think is just going to go super neg. It's just not worth it. I'm Only a Sloth asks, what do you feel some of the worst clans currently in Standard, my opinion, need to be more competitively viable? Honestly, I feel like they just need to look at these decks, decide what they want to do with them, and just focus on improving that aspect. Because, in my opinion, the worst clans in Standard right now are Mega Colony and Tachikaze. I would have said Grand Blue before, but then Extra Booster 8 came out, and they decided, you know what, we're just going to improve this deck's ability to turbo out its drop zone and just toolbox. And wouldn't you know, Grand Blue's actually very good. So, take the route that they went with Grand Blue and apply it to Mega Colony and Tachikaze, and I think you get there. Mega Colony is going to be a bit more difficult because I honestly couldn't tell you what the focus of that deck is if you asked me. I think they're supposed to be a beatdown deck with the ability to tutor grade 3s, and they have their own version of, they have Antlion as their finisher, and Stag Beetle, is that what its name? No, Spark Hercules is an annoying card to deal with, but I feel like as a whole though, that deck just needs like more juice, more speed, draw power, better grade 3 consistency. Like, no look at top 7 for a grade 3, it's just on hit, add the grade 3 from your deck to your hand, and I don't know what the new boss card could do. I feel like Mega Colony could be a clan that could actually be able to justify acting as something that interacts the opponent on their turn, much like how the original Dark Face did from way back when. You know, when your opponent's rear guard displays Soul Blast to rest it. That was a really cool ability, and I wouldn't mind seeing more of that. Now granted, I can already hear people saying, oh my god, no, I don't want that, it's like Yu-Gi-Oh then. And to which I say, is that really a bad thing? Like, competitive players, the thing that they will tell you that they don't like about, say, Standard format is that it's so RNG based. Triggers as a whole can just cuck you over as far as trying to make a push, and it's just really like what is it? Really predictable. And being able to add some more flexibility and being able to add more interactivity would be neat. And I think Megas could do it. And as far as Tachikaze goes, you just look at it again what they did with Grand Blue and go, okay, so this deck is a combo deck. It wants to gauge its units and it wants to use those gauges to do something. I know. Let's just make it more consistent at that. Give them more cards that equip gauges and give them more cards that interact with the gauges. Also, give them something that says when your rearguard with a gauge is retired, add that gauge back to your hand. I don't know, Soul Blast and get it from your drop zone to hand, because having like a board with gauge units is nice and all, but then like something like Kagero or Shadow Paladin comes in, nukes it, and then you just lose your gauges, and that's a big oof. And being able to get back your gauges to your hand a lot easier than just only like, 2 cards? 3 at the most? Is really useful for when you gauge your triggers. And have the ability to, say, take your gauge, bot deck it, and then take the top card of your deck and gauge it. That way you can shuffle your triggers back in. And yeah, just reduce Tachikaze's chances of bricking, and I think you can fix that. Like, I think Tachikaze will be the easier deck to fix out of those two, and Mega Colony is just the more iffy one, but we'll see. Tobinek asks, if you were to pick one, which one would you pick? Current Thunder Dragons or Narukami in Standard? Thunder Dragons, they at least top 4.
Let's move.
ANXE94, I believe that's how it goes? Yes, asks, what are you hoping for the new Narukami support if we get Vanquisher? No Thunderstrike. Oh my god, Thunderstrike is so bad. It's a big reason why Conquest Fulgurate's awful. Like, don't make new Vanquisher, or rather, old Vanquisher. Like, don't make Vanquisher V be focused on number of cards combined. Just stick to the keeping the front row clear to get neat effects game plan and beatdown aspect. And I think you're golden. Like,
Let's get going.
current Standard Narukami plays a lot like GBT2 Narukami, which was really good. Just keep the front row clear, Conquest, buff front row, smash face. Just more of that.
Whoa.
Bring it on.
Let's move.
And the last set of questions comes from Baka-chan Desu, who asks, should Vanguard introduce a new clan? To which I'm going to say, no, they shouldn't. Bushiroad already has problems adequately supporting the clans that we currently have. Adding one more to the mix is just going to strain them further. You'd have to introduce it, support it, get them caught up with the current clans out there, print them cards for premium as well, actually. Figure out what nation they go to. God help us if it would go into United Sanctuary or Dragon Empire. Those two are already bloated as is, but they're also the nations that see the most attention compared to, say, Zoo, which gets like one support a year for any of its clans, which would make this new clan pretty much dead in the water. Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing one. Like, I guess like if they did it proper and only if it was like, say, an Icebending clan, because I really want to see ice dragons in Vanguard, not tier dragons, like actual frost dragons, like Trishula, Dragon of the Ice Spear looking things. But aside from that, like, I don't think it should happen though. It would be a bad idea, and we're fine with what we currently have. Come to think of it too, I think all the clans we have right now scratch an itch for someone as far as like playstyle and aesthetic goes. I don't think we really need anything else. And even then, like, as much as I would like an Icebending clan, I would have no idea what you would do with it that's not like a carbon copy of something else. Next question is, I know it's a bit redundant, but I am curious, what is your opinion on the standard premium hate train splits? Personally, let's just all play the game that we all enjoy and stop the hate. Honestly, I think both formats have their issues, both formats are far from perfect, and to criticize one, but to be completely ignorant of the problems of the other format is, well, ignorant. Like, I think you'd be a fool to say, oh my god, standard is awful, when premium has its problems. And likewise, premium is such a stupid skillless sack format, you say, as you casually flip your defensive trigger that stops an Axel player's turn 2 push dead in the water, or like any rush turn dead in the water. Like, yeah, both formats are flawed. They're not perfect. They have their pros and they have their cons. And that's pretty much all I can really say about that. Any new clans you want to pick up? Not particularly. Anytime like a clan catches my interest, it really comes down to, this clan looks neat. Oh my god, those old cards are expensive. I'm looking at you, Cosmo Wreath. And as a result, I just passed. Like, I was going to pick up Wave 2 Nova Grappler, but then I saw the price of Azure Dragon. I'm like, nope, I am not doing this, not when I already have an XL deck in Narukami that will probably get decent support in its Wave 2, and that's more or less what happened. And it's not like I needed Azure Dragon for Premium Victor anyway. I just need to pick up a Luminal Dragon, and he'll be cheap. And then what else is there? Like, I have like a Murakumo Core, but I never bothered playing it because I just didn't want to shell out the money for Zombakus. And what else? Pale Moon I had, but I got rid of it because I just did not like what they were doing with their first two waves. Golden Beast Tamer was neat. End of Stage Dragon was not. And like, they were just not really doing good stuff with Pale Moon for those first two waves. With the whole negging yourselves to call out a soul. Like, it is my opinion that Axel decks should not be purposely negging themselves unless they're able to make that neg back in hand advantage, because hand means so much in this game, and just discarding cards or putting them into the soul and not being able to break even or go +1 in the exchange is not good. Like, look at what Genesis does with Sotori Hime and go with that route. Cannabis 1, yeet a card into the soul, draw 2. I think that would be a fantastic thing for Genesis or DI. I mean, for Pale Moon or DI, but anyway. So, yeah, there's nothing new I want to pick up now. As far as old clans that I've been wanting to get back into, Genesis. And I'll talk about that with the next question, which is the hype real for me in regards to the upcoming support? Silverthorns, Genesis protagonists, or clans that get a little love are getting a lot of love now, such as Nubatama and Genesis. I am actually pretty excited for Genesis. Not as much as I would have been if it was revealed to be Minerva as the next boss card. Then I would be losing my shit, because Regalia is one of my favorite decks I've played in Vanguard, and I've picked up and sold that deck multiple times. Like, that's actually quite funny, because I got into Genesis in the way beginning with successor of the Regalia. In fact, you can find the trial deck opening on this channel's backlog somewhere. Like, I've got quite a few Regalia deck profiles. I played that deck during Break Ride and Legion. I stopped playing it during Stride format, picked it back up again during the end of Stride. Like, Regalia is a fun deck. And I did tinker around with Fenrir for a bit too. Fenrir Radagarasu was a deck I played, but then I just dropped that deck because Genesis was just not able to compete in GPT-4 format. And Fenrir Wiseman never really took off here like it did in Japan. I just didn't bother to update it because of I had Night Rose and Asha update in the same set, and Night Rose was just a better deck. Go figure. And Amaruta was just never good. And I didn't want to play Genesis Gize either. So, but yeah, what was it? So, back to my original point though, like I wanted to play Genesis when it came out for Standard, but I didn't want to spend the money on Himiko, especially when I saw that Himiko was not the Genesis deck was just not doing that well compared to the already established Neo Nectar. I'm like, why am I paying money? Why would I go after Genesis as much as I would have to for this deck when I've already got Neo Nectar as a much better and more long living deck? And that's exactly what happened. That being said, though, I am quite intrigued and happy to see Genesis is getting some love. God knows it really needed it, as with this, now that they're a main protagonist deck, they actually have an identity with this whole astral plane thing. One of the issues that people had from Genesis from a thematic standpoint was that it was just basically, oh, it's every other clan's gimmick as a boss monster gimmick in the clan. Like, you had a Restander Minerva, Guard Restrict, and Yggdrasil. You had Vanguard being an OTT unit. What is it? Hellsky Fenrir was actually pretty intriguing for its thing. Amaruta, what was it? You basically had board standing, so you had a Nova Grappler Stride as far as Ishtar goes. And then Regalia was just, yeah, it's like a restanding clan. I'm a restanding deck. And Standard Genesis, it was just basically build up Soul Blast to get big power, like just do 4-stack things, whereas the new version of the Genesis deck that we're getting looks like it'll actually do something with its Astral Plane gimmick that is so far exclusive to them until they decide the Bermuda Triangle gets its own plane, because I'm half expecting that to happen. What else can I really say? Like, I'm excited. Yeah, I'm excited to play that deck again, and I'm hyped for it. And yeah, I'm really glad that I grabbed Perfect Guards before the stream happened, not after, because oh my lord, the price of Kukuri Hime, I believe what it's called, is pretty crazy. Himiko's prices are also absurd, but I'm hoping to God I do not need it because I didn't bother getting it. I got basically every other stable Genesis card aside from Himiko, and I'm quite content with that. And yeah, that's all I gotta say about that. As far as like some of the other clans, like, it's nice to see that they're actually going to be giving Nubatama its due with this set. Although I'm not sure if they're going to like go all the way and trying to make this new build of Nubatama work. Like, Dominate, when it was coming out, it had this hype, but it amounted to nothing because Bushiroad didn't give it enough oomph in it, despite the fact they were trying to reboot Nubatama in this new way. And that might happen with this token deck. Like, Bushiroad, if they're going to try and make this thing work, they need to commit to this gimmick and go all the way with it and to make it work. Now, if they do that, the deck will probably, the token Nubatama deck will probably not do anything in premium form because I don't see it meshing very well with Dominate and stuff, but that's fine. Like, Nubatama has its premium deck. The standard deck just, they need to like make good, and the reason why it just hasn't been able to do so already is because they've probably been just too afraid of either making a multi-attack and protect deck too strong, or the whole hand discard thing. And maybe this token thing will finally fix it. And as far as what else? Angel Feather is getting some love as a potential main character clan. Granted, I don't think you really needed it that much because Angel Feather's first wave of support was actually really good, and the fact they're getting more consistent versions of what they're already doing is a little bit on the scary side. But we will see how that goes. Hopefully, because Nova Grappler are also in that same set, that if Angel Feather ends up being a problem, God Hand will, well, smack it down with the power of the God Finger. I finally got that G-Gundam reference in, yay. But in any case, yeah, I'm pretty excited to see some of the more underrepresented clans getting support. And, man, so you've got the first set with Genesis, Nubatama, Nova Grappler, and Angel Feather. The set after that is Neo Nectar, Gold Paladin, and Great Nature. Now, that's an interesting set. Gold Paladin will be probably the flagship cards of the set, and Neo Nectar, man, I'm excited for that. Happy to see them back in the fold. Then you've got the Bermuda set. That's not going to be a fun time. Then you've got probably the most hype extra booster that you could see out there, because you've got Aquaforce, which is a fan favorite, Shadow Paladin, which is the community's favorite, and then my boys, Narukami, which are also pretty prominent, especially considering that the Shadow Paladin and Narukami users in that set are two of the most macho characters in this series. Like, you've got Kanzaki, who is friggin' Dio, and then you've got, I believe it goes Ryotaro Uyama, Branch Chief. Every episode that guy fought in was amazing for G. Like, he was easily like one of my highlight characters in the first half of G, which was like not like a very good show, series, good half I should say. And then you've got Valios' original host in that set. I don't know what kind of character he's going to be. I'm low-key hoping that he makes the same meme faces so we can have more Valios memes. I'm sure Full Throttle would like that. And then after that, you've got Gear Chronicle, finally. That moment when Gear Chronicle is like a more hated-on deck than Tachikaze was. I guess that's what you get for ZTB having, and Gear Timely being so prominent, but Gear Chronicle will get their set, and I imagine Kagero and Royal Paladin will be in there, because I do not see them going a full year without supporting two of the big four. And yeah, that's pretty much what I gotta say. So overall, yeah, I'm quite excited to see what's going on. Don't let the fact that I'm not like screaming off the top of my lungs show that indicate that I'm not excited, because I am quite happy. It's just they're not Naru's obviously, but that's Naru's that only get me that excited. In any case, that's all for this. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was fun answering your questions. The next one of these will be later on in the year, probably closer to the end of the year. Yeah, probably December is what I'm aiming for. So yeah, I will obviously do an announcement video before that happens. And until next time, this is BooStarter9, jacking out.